Welcome to another edition of India Sense. I'm Gaurie Dwivedi. I'm going to walk you through the stories that matter to the global Indian. But first up, the headlines we're tracking. Russian President Vladimir Putin set to visit India on the 4th and 5th of December. This will be the first state visit of Vladimir Putin to India since the Ukraine war. Also the first time since the slapping of the 50% tariffs on India due to purchase of Russian oil. Massive protests target Asim Munir in Pakistan outside Imran Khan's jail. Khan's family claims that the former Prime Minister has been tortured in the death cell. How will the failed Field Marshal respond? We tell you. Donald Trump set to halt immigration from third world countries. The move comes after National Guard shooting near the White House. The 19 countries that are targeted are the same ones that had come out that were impacted due to the travel ban in Trump's earlier term. Yet another sentence for former Prime Minister of Bangladesh, Sheikh Hasina. This time it's 21 years in jail that she's been sentenced to, the second punishment after an earlier one had given her the death sentence. Prime Minister Modi unveils India's first commercial private rocket, Vikram 1, set to launch in 2026. The big story on the show this week, viewers, from Pakistan, and more importantly, Asim Munir, who is now the most important person in Pakistan. He is above the constitution, above the law, and above the military as well. And of course, needless to say, above the political class as well. He is the first ever chief of defense forces in Pakistan. He has ensured lifetime immunity for himself and a fixed tenure. A coup done constitutionally. But guess what? He has a problem and a big headache. And that problem and headache goes by the name of Imran Khan. There have been massive protests across Pakistan because there are now many who believe that there is no proof of life for Imran Khan. He has been incarcerated with absolutely no proof that he is even alive or not. I'm going to tell you why this fight between Asim Munir and Imran Khan is personal. But first up, listen in to the family of Imran Khan, who's saying, well, there is no way to know whether the former Prime Minister is even alive or not. Listen in.
इनको नहीं पता कि वो तो सियासतदान थे, इमरान खान एक लीडर हैं। इमरान खान रेगुलर पॉलिटिशियन नहीं है। वो इस मुल्क को बदलने के लिए आए हैं, वो इस मुल्क में तब्दीली लाना चाहते हैं। तो ये इसलिए इनको ये फर्क समझ नहीं आई। ये समझते हैं कि वो प्राइम मिनिस्टर बनना चाहते हैं। प्राइम मिनिस्टर कोई इशू नहीं है उनका। उनको अल्लाह ताला ने पाकिस्तान में जो इज्जत दी है वो प्राइम मिनिस्टर से बहुत ज्यादा है। तो अब ये उनको इस चीज पे तंग कर, मतलब ये चाहते हैं कि वो ये डील करें और फिर ये जेल से बाहर आए। वो कहते हैं मैं कभी डील नहीं करूंगा, चाहे मुझे सारी जिंदगी जेल में रखो।
In 2019, it was Asim Munir Imran Khan who had dismissed Asim Munir as the ISI chief because of corruption allegations against Bushra Bibi. So it is personal between the two leaders. And what has happened 6 years later is that now there is a genuine concern amongst Imran Khan's party leadership that the leader may not be alive, or at least is being tortured, and there is a serious threat to his life. Now, why is this such a big headache for Asim Munir? Well, viewers, Asim Munir now has to decide whether to release Imran Khan or not, or even release a video. And I'll tell you why. If a video goes out, or if Imran Khan walks out of jail, then he galvanizes the public against Asim Munir. But if he stays behind, remains incarcerated, then he'll continue to become bigger as far as a leader within the Pathan community. His stature is already very significant, particularly amongst Pathan community, and that will rise further. And that will mean more problems for Asim Munir because he is facing and battling that big Pakistan-Afghanistan issue where Pathans on both sides of the border, viewers, feel that they are being targeted by the Punjabi military. It's the Punjabi-dominated military in Pakistan, and the Pathans feel that they are being tormented. Listen in to the Chief Minister of Khyber Pakhtunkhwa, the region where Pathans are dominant. and ISI's writ runs the weakest. Listen in.
अदालती अहकामात होने के बावजूद बार बार जो है वहाँ चीफ जस्टिस ऑफ पाकिस्तान को कॉल करने के बावजूद, वहाँ इस्लामाबाद हाई कोर्ट के चीफ जस्टिस से मिलने के बावजूद, वज़ीर-ए-आज़म को बताने के बावजूद, कौमी असम्बली से करारदाद पास करने के बावजूद, सूबाई असम्बली से करारदाद पास करने के बावजूद भी एक सूबे के चीफ एग्जीक्यूटिव को उसके लीडर, उसके कायद जनाब इमरान खान साहब से मिलने नहीं दिया जा रहा था। और मेरा ये तमाम तर जो लवाजमात थे, जो आईनी और कानूनी रास्ते थे, जो ये ऑप्शंस थे, ये इसलिए मैं कर रहा था कि मैं दुनिया को दिखाऊं कि पाकिस्तान तहरीक इंसाफ का हमेशा से एहतजाज जो है वो आखिरी ऑप्शन रहा है, पुरअमन एहतजाज।
And that's the crux of the problem. Asim Munir is now dreading the Pathan resentment against the Punjabi hegemony, not just in Khyber Pakhtunkhwa, but also in Balochistan, and a problem that he has no solutions for. Asim Munir's iron-fisted rule, brought about by constitutional amendments, viewers, may unravel sooner than many know. To talk more on this, I have Rakesh Sood, the former ambassador of India to Afghanistan. Ambassador Sood, let me start by asking you, how do you see the Pakistan-Afghanistan problem in the wake of all the uncertainty and volatility that's happening in Pakistan?
I think the Pakistan-Taliban problem is something that is quite apart from any volatility that is happening in Pakistan. That was there during the 1990s, and it has been there for quite some time. Since 2022, there have been 2 attempts by the Taliban government in Kabul try and broker a ceasefire with the Tehreek-e-Taliban in Pakistan, commonly known as the TTP. But they ceased to permit talks with the Pakistani military. Unfortunately, these talks never proceeded very far. There were ceasefires that lasted from 10 days to 3-4 months, but eventually broke down. So for the last 6 months, we've seen that Pakistani military has decided to take action, not just along the border where they think that the TTP camps are,
Yes.
but also at some of the TTP leaders, including in Kabul. So that has nothing to do with whatever are the internal disturbances in Pakistan.
Which brings me to ask you, sir, that how do you see this as far as Asim Munir's options are concerned? What are his options right now to ensure that this doesn't, escalate into a bigger conflict?
Well, they have an open border. They will try and seal it to the extent that they can, but it is not a popular step because the Pashtuns live on both sides of the border, and there are tribes that have had long-standing ties across the border. But in the interest of security, Pakistan can certainly try to seal the border. They will also try and get help from the Central Asian countries. They'll try and get help from China.
Do you see this becoming a long-drawn issue then? Do you see this becoming long-drawn?
Of course, it is a long-drawn issue. It has always been a long-drawn issue. As I told you, it was an issue during the 1990s, and it has now once
I meant
again
right
become
now.
an issue.
I meant right now.
Yes, it will become an issue because it is only the issue emerged 6 months after the Taliban went into Kabul. As long as the Taliban were dependent and they were not in Kabul, they were dependent on the ISI for support and safe havens. Once
Now
they
they
had
are
their
not.
own country.
Yes.
Now they are not. So therefore, they are no longer dependent on the Pakistani military. And so therefore, their approach, which is ideological, unfortunately, the world was deluded into believing that there was a Taliban 2.0. And this delusion was promoted by the Americans first and foremost, and all the West, and also Pakistan. The truth is that there is no Taliban 2.0. It is ideologically identical to the Taliban 1.0. And so therefore, once the Taliban are back in Kabul, in their own territory, they have fought together with troops from TTP, from groups. There are about 20 different militant groups living in Afghanistan who have fought together with the Taliban.
All
And
right.
obviously, they are not going to hand them over to Pakistanis or to the Uyghurs, to the Chinese, or the Tajiks to the
No, they
Tajikistan
won't.
authorities or anything like that.
Absolutely. No, they won't. And I think that is where the real struggles are going to begin for Asim Munir. I'm going to leave it there. Pastor Sood, thanks much
Thank
for
you.
joining us on India Sense. On that note, viewers, a quick break. We return with more stories on the other side, including the latest as far as the Russia-India relationship set to get a major fillip with President Putin's upcoming visit. The Russia-Ukraine war has been going on since February 2022. And after that, the first visit of Russian President Vladimir Putin on the 4th and 5th of December. A lot is lined up. It's the first state visit of Putin since the war. But more importantly, it comes in a time of headwinds, particularly with regard to India's sovereign decision with regard to protecting its energy security, that is purchase of Russian oil. Let's get in my colleague Vishal Vivek for an update on what all can be expected as far as the key discussions that are lined up between the leaders. Vishal?
Well, Gaurie, there are three things we can actually talk about when it comes to Putin's visit to India. The first one obviously would be the defense part of it, because India and Russia have enjoyed this defense partnership for decades now, particularly in the Soviet era. Ever since the Soviet era, Russia has been the biggest exporter of arms to India. India has been taking all kinds of arms supplies from the Russian side. And the second part could be, the oil deal that India and Russia enjoy. But that's also under consideration on different fronts. It's also contentious because US has, threatened to put sanctions. It has already put sanctions on Russia,
Yes.
and also, threatened that India could also face similar sanctions. And also the fact that the 51% tariffs that India has is also credited somewhat to what the oil exports that India has from the Russian side. So all of that could be discussed, but officially the agenda is not out. Third point could be the technology front, because the world over it's all about AI right now. People are talking about rare earth metals, how to develop the AI technology to the next level. So all of that could be discussed, but officially nothing has been declared so far.
All right, Vishal, all eyes now on the messaging that will go out after the meeting between Prime Minister Modi and President Putin, and that is going to be extremely significant. Let's leave it there, viewers. Let's turn attention now to the other important story on the show. In typical Trump style, a day after the National Guard shooting, Donald Trump decided to come out with sweeping decisions with regard to putting a stop to immigration from 19 countries. In fact, he has said that is now going to be the place decision indefinitely. Interestingly, these were the 19 countries, most of them, that were also subjected to travel bans when Donald Trump had taken a decision in his earlier tenure. So sweeping review of green cards, visas, asylum claims, all being put into place, impacting thousands of people around the world. These are the third world countries that Donald Trump is targeting. But viewers, on India Sense, I'm going to talk about not just what Donald Trump has decided to do overnight. There is a larger shake-up with regards to global immigration that is taking place. And let's walk you through that. Where all are those decisions being taken? First and foremost, in the US, where immigration rules have been tightened after the attack on National Guard. There's now a pause on immigration from third world countries. Green cards have been frozen. 200,000 refugees have been impacted. Let's now turn attention to Canada, which has also lowered the international study permits. There's now a cap on foreign student visas, which is left at 408,000. And that's exactly what I'm telling you here in terms of the exact number. It has come down to just 408,000. That's what Canada is doing. It's also revising citizenship by descent law. Again, an effort that's coming with a larger push towards clamp down with regard to immigration. Indian Canadian families can now pass on citizenship is an extremely important part of this. Let's now turn attention to what's happening in the UK as far as faster path to residency for high-skilled talent. That still remains a key focus for a lot of countries who feel that highly skilled talent is something that they will continue to attract even though they are passing and making sweeping changes to immigration. 5-year residency path for nurses, teachers and high earners is in place. But the residency, 3 years for immigrants that are earning over £125,000. So this is the place where countries are attracting highly skilled workers. The problem is for the rest of them. And that is the larger immigration shake-up that we are talking about. Well, the true India ascent story this week on the show, viewers, is how the economy is zooming, making headlines for all the right reasons, setting records and defying expectations. In fact, the Nifty and the Sensex, which is your key benchmark indices, have touched all-time highs. And there are 3 things that it signals, and we're going to put that out for you. First and foremost, a strong investor's confidence. It means that there is complete faith that investors have in Indian economy. The IMF projects that the growth will be 6.6% in the current financial year. More importantly, in the second quarter, the GDP may actually be upwards of 7.2% as well. Inflation remains low, which means that people actually have more money in their hands. When you and I have less inflation, we are able to ensure we buy more from the money that we have in our hands, bringing welcome relief to consumers across the country. Analysts expect the RBI to consider cutting rates, a move that will further boost both growth and investments. Essentially, as we move towards our larger goal towards a $5 trillion, $10 trillion economy, it is moments like these that have an impact on the investor sentiment and the larger growth roadmap that India has. And last but most importantly, this year, 2025, viewers, has been about Donald Trump's tariffs and shaking the entire trade relationship. But these numbers indicate the resilience of the Indian economy. It's official, India will host the Commonwealth Games 2030 and Ahmedabad will take centre stage. This isn't just a sporting event, viewers. It's a declaration that India will put up world-class infrastructure with a spirit of unity. As preparations begin, India is expected to push for the inclusion of yoga as a medal sport in this historic centenary edition that India will be hosting, a cultural moment as significant as the Games themselves. In the past decade, India has made a decisive move to position itself as a global sporting hub with a long-term vision of hosting the Summer Olympics in 2036. Now, the nation faces a massive test, building world-class infrastructure on time and on budget. Ahmedabad must transform into a global sport-ready city, from transport and accommodation to security, sustainability, and biggest challenge of all, ensuring that the Games leave a proud legacy, not a forgotten footprint. Across the country, young athletes are now dreaming bigger than ever, aiming for the podium, inspired by the possibility of hearing home crowd cheers echo across world-class Indian arenas. Because this is more than a chase for medals, viewers. It's about igniting a generation, showcasing India's talent and diversity, sending a message to the world that we are ready.
Delighted to come.
India stands on the edge of a new era in space exploration, viewers, and at the heart of this revolution is Vikram 1, a homegrown private rocket that's poised to propel the nation into a bold new orbit. Vikram 1 is more than a rocket, it's the rise of a future where Indian innovation reaches beyond the sky and into the destiny we dare to imagine. Take a look.
India is on the brink of a new space revolution, its cosmic ambitions taking a giant leap forward. From a lab in Hyderabad comes Vikram 1, India's first private rocket that carries not just satellites, but the legacy of a nation's dream into orbit. made of carbon fiber featuring 3D printed liquid engines, Vikram 1, Skyroot Aerospace's first orbital launch vehicle, is named after Vikram Sarabhai, the father of India's space program. Standing 20 meters tall and generating 1200 kilonewtons of thrust, this sleek rocket can carry up to 480 kilos into low Earth orbit. In less than 3 days, it can be assembled and launched from any site, making space more accessible than ever before. A feat of engineering, Vikram 1's ascent has 4 key stages, each performing a critical role, starting with the Kalam 1200, a 10-meter solid booster producing 120 tons of thrust, followed by the Kalam 250 for mid-ascent. The Kalam 100 fires in space, providing further thrust, while the 4 Raman engines in the final stage help the rocket steer and place satellites precisely. Cutting-edge innovations such as 3D printed engines, ultra-low shock segregation and real-time guidance make Vikram 1 a symbol of India's technological leap. Set for its maiden flight early next year, Vikram 1 promises to be a danger for Indian space missions. India is no longer reaching for the stars. It's defining its place among them. Bureau Report, NDTV Gaurie.
Viewers, with that, we wrap things up on this edition of India Ascends. Thanks so much for watching.